We talk about that. That Fendi was everything. I was here for it.
You're right about that.
Love.
You're right about that. You are 100% right about that.
Even if you're about to be a goon, that Fendi is everything.
I wasn't necessarily that here for it, but I just sent y'all the photo that I saw on the internet, and that took me out, bitch.
Oh
when
my
I saw
God.
That, bitch. Bitch.
Why they do that? Why they do that to her? No. Why they do that to her?
Black Twitter ain't got shit. Oh my God.
Why they do that to her?
Oh my God.
But they right though. But it's funny. So I did go on Twitter after it, and Solange was having a debate with Tyler, the Creator, over if they were pants or boots. And she put up a poll. Solange put up a poll. At first I thought they were boots.
They were pants.
But they were pants. It took me like a good 2.5 hours in to realize they were pants.
Hey aunties, it's Victor from Seattle. What's brewing today?
Brandy, Angelou versus Goonica.
Ask your aunties, the privileged negotiator.
And the census is due September 30th. So get your cups ready for Minoritea Report. We were off.
Yeah. We were off. We were
a little
off.
Wi-Fi lag there, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
It just took a little bit for it to get to Seattle. That's all.
Oh, that's my fault. I thought I was on. I thought I was on point.
How you two doing tonight?
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
That part.
Like Monica said yesterday, just one of those days.
She said, we are not a group.
We're not a group.
Oh man, we might as well hop into it because it was everything. And the community, before we get there, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. Subscribe, download, share, all that good stuff. Hit the like button, hit the bell button. You know, now.
and while we at it, before we get an hour in, thank you, Victor.
Yes, thanks, Victor, for bringing us in for that opening, boo.
Yeah, I know, did the video and everything. Yes. I know that's probably the earliest we've thanked an intro person.
Since the beginning. Since the beginning.
Oh, thank you, Victor. But okay, now
let's get
Brandy
into
and
it.
Monica. Monica and Brandy. I don't even know what I want the first question to be. Okay, overall, who won? Maybe we start there and then we can dissect it. Overall, who do you think won?
Okay, overall, I think Brandy won.
Okay.
I think she won in the moment, like through the actual verses, but I felt like I connected more of Monica's songs. I just forgot. I was just like, oh shit. Oh, that's my jam. That's my jam. Like, it was just, I don't know. Actually, I take it back. It was a tie. It was a tie. Because I had just thought about it. Because the first half, when Brandy went first, her songs went first. And I was like, oh yeah, right, I like that song. Then Monica would go. Then the second half, it was Monica going. And I was like, oh yeah, I like that song. Then Brandy would go. And I'm like, oh shit, I like that song.
Right.
So I think it was a tie when it came to like what songs pull me.
Okay.
But,
okay, Switzerland.
No, but as far as like being there, I think Brandy held it down. She sang way more. She was into it. She was actually singing a lot more Monica songs too. Like, I felt like she was there. She was like, I ain't got nothing to prove. Like, I just want to be here and have a good time. And Monica was still clearly bothered. Like, she had her prayer beads in her purse behind that bottle of Ciroc in the middle of that table. Every time she reached for that microphone, she just touched a prayer bead. Like, Lord, don't let me say something on this.
Who you think won, Dawon?
I think Brandy won for sure. One, I personally connected more with Brandy's songs. Like, I'm not as familiar with, I won't say most of Monica's catalog, but like a lot of her new stuff, I and like a lot of Brandy's new stuff. But like from the old stuff, I was like, I was down for Brandy. But I think the biggest thing about it was, for me, was less about the song for song like matchup. It was more about the energy that they were bringing to the table during the verses. Like from the very moment that Monica and Brandy got on the scene, you know, Brandy was just like, she was talking to her. She was wearing her little like Cree Summer, like, you know, 1970s, you know.
Not for them to call her Adele though. I was dead.
Like, you know, but I was just, it was like an effort. It was a mood. And like, she was so into the whole evening. And I felt like Monica was just kind of like there. Like she didn't, in my opinion, didn't view it as an opportunity, not just to like showcase her catalog, but also just to like, you know, like entertain, use the venue as a space to entertain and show a little bit more about her and her personality and blah, blah, blah.
Right. I thought, what about you,
Crow?
Y'all thought my answer was complicated. Wait for this.
You know
answer.
mine's gonna be complicated.
Because this is the producer, y'all. So
I go back and forth in my head. I see, because like here's the thing, I don't expect them to sing. Like
remember
a lot of people,
Kyle from a couple episodes back when he was like, when we were talking about politics, he was like,
oh, shout out to Kyle and them from Gayish, Kyle and Mike. But no, I know like a lot of people, like even like Landon was like, why aren't they singing? Like Verzuz at the beginning wasn't even about the singing. It was about the track and going track for track. So I didn't have that expectation. Yeah. So in that regard, I was living for Monica because I just love me some Monica. But I adore Brandy songs too. It was probably a tie for me. But the second Monica came out,
the only one.
I was like, oh my God, Monica is so Atlanta. So Atlanta. And
in what way?
She don't do fake and phony
outfit. Her, like, she is so like Southside Atlanta. Like, you will see women around here dressed just like that, just going to Kroger. Okay. So I was just like, God, she is so repping where she's from, just from the get-go. And I honestly think that's what clashes Brandy and Monica anyway. Like Brandy, I still feel to this day sometimes puts on an image where Monica is 1000% like herself, like
Atlanta.
The facial expressions and everything. She's like, either you're gonna like me or you're not, and I don't care. Where I still feel like Brandy was kind of brought up a little more in that pop mold where it was an image and I gotta stay up to this image and things like that. And so I think either you connect to that part of it or you connect to Monica's realness, and there's like no in between, you know? But overall, I'm glad they agreed to finally do it, because for months now they've been trying to get them to do it, and either Monica would say no and Brandy would say yes, or Brandy would finally say no and Monica would say yes. So like I was watching after the whole thing, like Swiss and Tim got on there, and they're like, if you just knew the amount of work that went into this particular Verzuz. And I was like, I believe it. Because obviously, you know, Black Twitter was lit, and so there's already this history. And they were just like, the amount of work to get them to finally say yes. I'm just glad they said yes, and clearly 1.2 million people tuned in,
right?
Just on IG alone.
This gave so many content creators so much content, even before it even aired. Like, I don't know if you guys were like on like, you know, Twitter or Instagram or whatever. I'm mostly on Instagram or whatever, but like I flip flop between the two, and like everybody like had something to say, if not a lot of things to say about this, the anticipation of this Verzuz and who they thought was going to win and who they, you know, all that fun stuff. So
it just shows you how big they were too. People forget how big Monica and Brandy were. Because like people are like, oh, just R&B. I was like, no, they were like the pop stars for a moment there. They were it. Yeah. So clearly we all were trying to get our lives, our little 15, 16, 17-year-old lives or whatever.
Sure did.
Was it just me or like, was it just me or did it feel like when they were on stage, like I just forgot that they were mothers. Like, and when they got on, and I was just watching it, and even though you can see that they're, you know, obviously grown women, they've come into their own, they've had, you know, amazing careers and blah blah blah, but like as soon as I saw them, and like mostly throughout it, as I would get glimpses of them instead of just listening to the songs, in my mind I still saw them as like 14, 15 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even though I'm physically looking at these grown-ass women who then popped out babies and stuff.
And are damn near 40 years old now.
Honestly, like looking at them, it felt like only like 3 or 4 years had gone by, not 20 plus years. You know, like I was like, damn, first off, Black don't crack. We see y'all. You know, and then second, like to still just had like, even when they were singing, like still vocally just sounding so good. I was like, and that's one thing I was a little mad at Monica for not, you know, because Brandy was all for like, let's do these harmonies real quick. Oh, you don't want to keep going? Oh, okay. Like
that was a cute little moment. She was like, I was ready to go. Let's do it.
She was like, I'll hop on a track, you know, like I live for it.
Monica's like, I do not fool with you like that yet.
that part, like Brandy like had threw it out. She was like, forgotten. She's like, I'm over it. And Monica was like, nah,
hashtag
bitch.
never let it go.
Very much.
I know, like we had our little text thread going. I'm like, Jarrell, Monica is literally, that is your spirit. Like that is you sitting up there. That is so you sitting up there.
And I couldn't even deny it. I was like, you know what? That's probably why I was messing with her. I loved it.
What is the impetus for their beef? Like, why is that? I'm still trying to figure that out.
Like, cause I know years ago they were on the Breakfast Club, and even then they said, we honestly don't know. They said, like, when you're so young, especially in the 90s, you gotta remember 90s was like probably like the peak of the music industry and pop stars and this and that. And they were like,
and R&B was like
exactly
like
you were trying to be the queen, you know, the throne, king of the throne. And they said on that interview saying, like, we honestly don't even know what the pinpoint is that like everyone else was telling us there was beef, and we were so young that we bought into it. And so literally they performed The Boy's Mind once at the MTV Music Awards or Video Awards. That was it. They went
on opposite sides of the stage wearing them tacky ass satin dresses.
Yeah.
But like that hairdo that Monica had in that is back now. Kiki had it at the VMAs, which we'll get to.
And they performed once on GMA 8 years ago, and then that was the last time that they were in the same room together. So it was like
years, and they've never really talked about it. So we talk about communication on here all the time. They fed into it and never really talked like why we mad. You know?
I mean, but if you don't know, then like to me, that just seems like a complete missed opportunity with like you guys being in the same room at the same time. They talked about damn near everything else. They talked about coronavirus. They talked about Black Lives Matter. They talked about everything else, but what the fuck was going on between the two of them? And they could have just squashed it right there. And how amazing would that have been if like, you know, they got on and really vibed or whatever. And then on the outset of that, you know, there was like collaborations and all that. That could have been amazing.
And now on top of that, like the one Grammy that they have together for The Boy Is Mine as with each other.
And it's still one of the top songs ever. Like, it was 14 weeks on the Billboard. There's only maybe a handful of songs that have been longer at this point.
You know, and so it's a missed opportunity. And I honestly I hope that this is a changing moment for culture, because if those two can squash whatever it is they got between them, they're about to change the game, and all these young folks don't have to go back to the drawing board because they coming back for the throne. Period.
I mean, like the Trenches song that Monica debuted is like number 4 or something like that on like the on the R&B charts, and like number 20 already on the just like the overall pop charts and everything. Which is crazy. And so like you see now 30 of the top 40 R&B songs on the charts are their songs. It's crazy. So it clearly Verzuz does some shit. And especially for these young kids that don't know them, know these songs now. Some coins in your purses.
But and again, that goes back to, this was such a missed opportunity. You know what I mean? Like granted for their individual careers, but like how amazing would it have been if like they could have just took this as an opportunity to like make this about showmanship and make this about, you know, like friendship, make this about, and I'm not saying friendship like, oh, we best buddies or whatever, but like, if you don't even know what the beef is, then why the fuck is you mad? Why show up mad? Come on now. I am happy.
Though. Have you been in the room though with like someone you don't really mess with and all your friends want like you to kiki with them and you still just like, I don't mess, like I'm grown and I just don't mess with them.
I mean, yes.
You know I have. I was about to say, look.
It's like everyone's like, oh, go talk to him. It's like, I don't feel like it. Like, no. I really genuinely, and I think that's what Monica is. Like, Monica just does not know how to drop it just for the sake of the art. Where Brandy was like, oh yeah, let me kiki and
but then at least drop it for the you know, for the coin. Damn, because that's what I'm talking about. You could really make this into a thing. You know, like first of all, this was in my opinion one of the most highly produced of the Verzuz. They didn't have hardly any technical issues, which has plagued some of the previous iterations,
especially the earlier ones. Yeah.
Thank goodness for, you know, Tyler Perry Studios for you know, for providing the space and the opportunity. You know, it's just, I don't know. It just, to me, it felt like they have so much like stake in what Black culture is and what R&B culture is, and like being like the queens of the game, that they really could have like played into this and made it like a real show instead of just like, you know, TED Talks with their notepads on Brandy's side.
Brandy,
right. Brandy, Angelou. Look, you know, the end of it said it all, and it literally said that Monica did all that she could to be in that same room. And you know this because the heifer didn't even decide to remember the lyrics to The Boy Is Mine.
The biggest song of their career.
Okay, the biggest song of their career. And didn't even think about, I should probably just relearn my own lyrics.
She said, I had about enough.
Look. But I will though, she still had the same attitude for the music video though. But when that head went on that hip and she gave the bank head
and that neck was going.
She gave the bank head, I said,
I was like, I love me some Monica.
I was like, okay, I'm here for it.
Oh man, was there any
What
songs?
do you guys think?
Oh, go ahead.
What do you guys think, because of the success of this? This was the highest rated Verzuz yet to date. Yeah. So what do you think this says to other battlers, potential battlers? Because, you know, those conversations are probably out there. What does it say? What do they need to do? What do you expect now having seen this?
Honestly, for me, because like the kind of this highly produced version of it has kind of been the last few of them, like even like 2 Chainz and Ross and like Fred Hammond and Kirk. So the last, call it 2 months, has kind of been this format. I personally miss the lower format, honestly, like the ones where you might have a couple technical issues, but like it doesn't feel as produced where they're like, oh shit, okay, she played Before You Walked Out of My Life. What am I gonna come back with? Now it's just like, okay, they already kind of probably had the run through, like, okay, I'm gonna play this, okay, I'm gonna play this, I'm gonna play it. So for me, some of that genuine shit, how am I gonna beat this song that you just played is kind of missing now. But that happens to anything that kind of gets popular and grows. Luckily, Timbaland and Swiss, they're like, we still don't have any sponsors. We haven't sold it to anybody. Everyone's coming to us. So this is still culturally ours, you know, which I completely adore. But next, who's going to get bigger? Hopefully it's like still like a good battle. Okay. And it's not just throwing people together.
So who I would love to see next?
Here we go.
Now,
here we go.
I have to pray on it. You know, it probably will never happen.
Is this like Uncle Luke?
You want Beyonce and Rihanna, don't you?
No. It's too soon for that because somebody might not make it out that room. But I would love to see Mary J. Blige and Janet Jackson.
They've been pushing Mariah Carey and Mary J. Blige. Even again last night, they were pushing that one.
Really?
It's been like the last month and a half. Every verse is now they're like Mary J. Mariah, and I'm like,
see, I don't think Mariah would be fun enough for something like this.
right.
I don't think she's playful enough for that. She's
I
like,
agree.
oh, that's my name. That's why I said like Mary and Janet, I feel, would actually be drinking that Ciroc on the table. At least Mary would, and just be having a good old time. And we'll get up. She'll stand and she'll give us a Mary J. dance.
I don't know. Mariah Carey is a fun girl. She's a champagne girl. She loves to have the attention. So, I mean, I don't know that would be get her riled up to want to participate.
For the culture wise though, I don't think she's at like you said, she has champagne girl. That is sponsored by Ciroc. Okay, two different things. So that's why Mariah, I don't think she would flow with it.
And honestly, Mariah is only second to the Beatles, so she would almost need to do a versus of her number one hits against her damn self. Like she has like 18 number ones. So like you need 20 hits. Most people are like, oh, I need 20 hits. Mariah's like, I damn near got 20 number ones. Not even like the additional hits.
Yeah.
So it's hard to stack against Mariah just sheer numbers wise. However, Versus is kind of more about the culture. So
Janet could. I think
Janet would be the closest, honestly.
Yeah.
So I would almost rather see a Mariah and Janet. But then I'm
that
like,
would be bad.
But then you would have two people. You would have two people talking like this the whole time.
That is true.
And
but the music though,
the mic wouldn't be loud enough. But when the music came on, it's this damn loud.
Give me a beat. Yeah, like I don't know, and I almost wonder, like I almost want to see like a versus videos, like a Janet versus.
Ooh, bitch!
Beyonce
I would
videos
love
or something.
I would love a visual versus. That would be
amazing.
That'd be long. I don't know.
Yeah,
I would love to see. I would love to see like a choreo battle.
They do.
Against with the songs.
Because Jaquel Knight, Beyonce's choreographer, I guess during this whole pandemic
we watched
stuff,
that a couple months ago.
Yeah, and he's been kind of doing like a choreography version of it to help dancers, because obviously dancers aren't getting gigs. So they're like, okay, we'll do these choreography battles and you donate and the money goes to the dancers that aren't dancing right now. So that one was actually pretty dope. Because like the last one I saw, they did Fatima, who did like all like Michael Jackson, Remember the Time, all Aaliyah stuff. I mean, she still does like everything, like commercials and all this shit. And then this other guy who did like all Sia stuff, and like he does like a lot of commercials. And I was sitting there like, oh my God, this is crazy. But yeah, I hope maybe there's a way to combine them all and still keep it ours.
Yeah,
that's what I hope. I hope like Apple TV doesn't just buy it outright, because then that's when it starts getting watered down and be like, I didn't want to see that. It's like I didn't want to see
like Taylor Swift and
BB Rexa
anybody else.
versus that
part. Yeah.
It's like
Ariana Grande.
See, I wouldn't mind, but she's just still too early in her career.
She's too young.
Now, I wouldn't mind seeing Ariana against somebody.
Too young.
But she's too early. So it's just like I want to see.
But I feel like
some old time folk, like Anita Baker versus Patti LaBelle or Gladys Knight.
I was thinking a Patti LaBelle and a Gladys Knight would be a kind of a hot one, and to have them both in the same room at the same time.
Now they say it's gonna be somebody's kitchen.
You're right. You're right.
Look, you know damn well. You know damn well.
Because you already been lost the battle if you haven't been in somebody else's kitchen.
Right. It's like
you already been lost. So if she going over to Patty's kitchen, it's a wrap. Because you in her house.
But
Tyler Perry Studios, he got some kitchens.
Multiple kitchens.
Let me serve you some greens. Let me serve you a side of greens with this midnight train to Georgia.
And if not, we'll build a kitchen.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. What was your favorite moment of the Verzuz of this?
When Monica was like, there was a time in my life when I used to kick down the doors and smack a chick, and Brandy was like, I was one of them. And she was like, now I didn't say your name. I didn't say your name.
And I think it was that moment where Monica was like, you know what, you just doing the most. It's like, that's why I never fooled with you the last 20 years, because you say too much.
But it was funny because but Brandy was, I almost called her Moesha, but Brandy was like, she was like, I was trying to make a joke, y'all. It was like literally a joke. And I think she was joking because the rumors were it was the opposite way around. Yeah. Originally, there was what the rumors were that it was Brandy that did that and not Monica.
And
so
there was a whole thing with Brandy and Conway from Boys to Men. And
wait, Jarrell, what he just called him?
Conway?
He said Conway.
Conway. You said Conway. You said
his name is Wanye, boo.
Okay. Look, she ain't been right about these names since day one, so it ain't shit gonna change.
He said Conway.
But Wanye. Look, better be glad I didn't say Kanye, because that was at the tip of my medulla oblongata up here. But there was this whole kind of situation where she was dating
Wanye.
Him. And he was dating Monifa. I think Monifa, right? Yeah, it was Monifa. Do you really wanna fuck with me tonight? Yes.
Wait, Wanye was with Monifa?
Yes.
I never knew that one. I remember years ago, Brandy said it was Wanye the reason why she had an eating disorder for a while there. I was like, ooh, that's deep. Ooh, that's heavy.
Damn.
I don't know why that's still in my brain from like 20 years ago. Say again?
Or she said it was because of him, or while she was with him?
While she was with him, it must have been maybe some verbal abuse.
Some other stuff.
Yeah. Wow. And so I don't know if this is still out on the internet. This is like pre-internet days. Like I remember some interview she did.
Not in the newspaper, girl.
Probably the newspaper. No. It was right on. It was probably Right On magazine. Thank you very much. Word Up magazine. Okay.
Or the Jet magazine. She on a toy.
My mom got the Jet and everything, but I used to go get that Right On and Word Up. Word Up magazine. Salt and pepper, heavy D up in the limousine. Sorry. My favorite part. I'm trying to think. There's a couple. I love when Brandon was kind of throwing these sly little shade moments, and I love Monica's looks, but I love when Monica kept on saying, "We are not a group."
Yeah,
she's like, "I am not about to kiki like this. You can kiki all you want, but I'm gonna let you know we are not a group. We are not going on tour." Yeah, like she's like, and she said something too, like she's like, "We just started talking tonight." I was like, "You're right, Monica. You're right."
Dumbass.
Anyway, but community, let us know what your favorite moments were. By the time this comes out, it might be a little older, but that's okay. Overall, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I needed that.
It won't be old for Monica.
Hashtag never let it go.
And Brandy said, "How you do that?"
Look,
right.
And that might be the soundbite for the night.
Hashtag never let it go. I mean, it is what it is. We understand it. We understand that spirit.
Oh, damn.
Especially me.
And it sounds like this.
But it's like, you won't be like that. Why even show up? Damn.
Because her numbers are doing better than Brandy's even now on the Billboard.
But still, I'm just. Oh. That's a whole lot of wasted opportunity.
And honestly, and I almost feel though too, part of it might be Monica's that's just how she is. She wasn't really. It might not even just really been Brandy. She might be like that all the time. And I think
probably why Usher told her ass no.
I know she. It was that moment that I was like, that's that Jarrell spirit, because she's like, yeah, Usher told me no yesterday that he didn't want to do another song together. And then Brandy said something like, "Oh, well, ask him no again." She's like, "Nope, it does something to my spirit when I hear a no." I was like, "That is that Jarrell spirit." I was like, "Ooh, what?" I think it was after that. That's when I
can't deny it. I can't deny it. I cannot deny it. And I even said in the group chat, I was like,
"You was like, you right."
I was like, I might have to break up with Brandy because I feel like I'm watching myself in the body of Monica.
Yeah.
Even just how she was just Brandy's song will come on and she'll be like, stop. She would stop acting like she gave a damn. And she was like, you said something? Oh, yeah.
But the numbers turned out better than they're saying. The numbers for Brandy versus Monica were bigger than VMAs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. That shows the power of Black people in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
B, the power of Brandy and Monica still, and then 3,
Mm-hmm.
are we checking for the VMAs really anymore?
Mm-mm.
Did you watch it?
I watched it. The VMAs were okay.
It was cute. It was cute.
I'm glad we didn't see nobody in their damn living room.
Mm.
Which was nice.
Yep.
They actually put in work to actually give a production.
Yeah.
I thought Kiki was okay. I just felt like she was.
I felt like she was stifled a little bit or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe
like
trying too hard at the same time.
I felt like she, because MTV's owned by Viacom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I felt like she was like still drinking the Viacom Kool-Aid, like, okay, y'all. So coming up next, we got. I'm like, I'm gonna need you to take your Bill Cosby acting ass down a few notches because the proof ain't in the pudding today. Like, it ain't there for me. Like that's what it felt like. I just felt like she was just kind of.
It did.
Maybe she's just not built for that. You know, like
that type of environment.
But she got like, the talk show. She got the talk show.
But that's a completely different, in my opinion, that's a completely different kind of venue and like vibe and energy. Like to me, she has like that. She's like that young Angela Bassett. You know what I mean? Like that old spirit. You know, that's got a lot of affectation. You know, a lot of pronunciation. You know, she's like that chick. I see, and I just feel like for, you know, like the MTV VMA like set, I almost feel like you need somebody dirtier. You know,
but if you listen to her music, it's the complete opposite.
Totally.
Like
totally. But she's also Aquila and the Bee.
She was Aquila and the Bee. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like she has a way of turning it on for the screen, but I think in a show where you have to care. Listen, we had Amanda Seales, right, doing it from her own damn living room. Turned it out.
But that's just her, though. That was her being her.
I'm just. That's what I'm saying. Right. I'm wondering if this is not the venue. She's not built for this venue.
Or could it be that we're just not in that age demographic for that show and type of host anymore? Because, like, I feel like I feel like it's a decent pick for the VMAs, especially kind of this like version of it. I think we might have outgrown her interpretation of the VMAs, honestly.
I think I just got too much of the code switching she was doing while she was hosting, and it just rubbed me the wrong way. I just felt like she wasn't. I don't feel like she was just being her authentic self. I just felt like she was acting and trying to portray a certain type of host versus just being her. Well, because again, for her, the TV show that she's on as a host for Michael, her and whatever the Sarah, whatever.
GMA3, which is canceled now, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, so that explains the music. But being able to see her, I was wondering about it because I'm like, I was like, you over here talking about it's sticky, like that one is icky.
And then Middle America coming back on Monday morning.
Okay, I was just like, how she go? This is a summer vacation like no other. Damn, girl.
It's canceled.
It's canceled. Okay, makes sense. So seeing her be more natural, freely on there, I know it's in there. I would have preferred her on how she is on that show.
I agree.
As a host. And what we saw on Sunday from her, it felt forced. Like she was like, I'm almost like auditioning to try to make this a reoccurring thing. You know?
She's like, let me do this VMA code switch job real quick so I can get another paycheck.
Right, exactly. I'm like, oh, maybe they'll consider me for something else type thing, you know, versus just being authentic, like, hey, it is what it is, you know. So
I also wonder how much creative control she had over, or any had at all, I guess I should say, with her performance. Because in my view, the thing that I also didn't like about it, it felt overproduced in a way. Like it felt like they were trying to do Saturday Night Live with like all these different like vignettes, but none of them were landing at all, and they were all just kind of like flatlining for me.
Yeah,
I think The Weeknd was the only good one. I like The Weeknd.
And he's the only one that really utilized New York City. So like, if you're gonna like utilize
That was
outdoor
amazing.
spaces, like him and what's the hot dude from Puerto Rico?
Maluma. Oh, yeah.
Menudo.
Man.
Maluma, daddy.
Jesus. But like, I feel like that venue could have almost been the entire show. Like, they're in a drive-in theater kind of S thing. They have the stage in the middle of it. Him and Kiki performed in that one. I think that was a missed opportunity in that particular area. And it could be just maybe not every performer wants to travel and things like that. So I get that. But I feel like, okay, outdoors seems to be the safest spot right now. So why would you even do a lot of this in a sound stage still?
Yeah, I did like that you had a really strong sense of change of scenery from like one bit to the next. But overall, like even The Weeknd's performance, like I watched the whole thing. Well, on fast forward because you know she ain't got all that kind of time. She'll give it like a minute and a half, and then it's like,
and then she good.
Right? Like,
she like the clown off the Apollo. She'd be ready to sweep a bitch off the stage. Like,
Come on, Sandman.
Get the fuck off my TV.
Sandman. Got the Sandman in here.
But like every single performance, I was like, it just none of them did it. Like there was not a single performance that did really anything for me.
The best performance was the pre-show, and that was Chloe and Halle.
Chloe and Halle killed
it. And they shouldn't have. That was so damn good. That should not have been
a pre-show.
A pre-show. They should have had a slot on the actual damn slow.
They don't learn to stop sleeping on Chloe and Halle and putting them on the sidelines. Because how many times do they got to perform in the side venue and the church across the street? Like
that tennis court and that tennis court across the street then got more views than the US Open, okay? Because every quarantine performance killed it.
Yeah. I love the outfits. I love the jewels in their hair. And I also love that they keep their locks. That they're not wearing a lot of wigs. They're not wearing a lot of extra whatever. They're like, okay, we're going to keep these locks. Keep this shit extra cultural.
Yeah. And they are so like artistically different than everything out there. Like, and I'm not just talking about like, you know, they did a great job of like bringing in like BTS, and there was that new group from South America or whatever.
The Latin One Direction.
That one. You know, like they did a really great job of making it more multicultural. I love the fact that they had, you know, multiple languages. That was really cool. But like, I love the vibe that they bring to their performances. It is like,
and Chloe
watching them is like, well,
like,
and like visually, it's like you're watching an art installation. You know what I mean? It's just like there's so many layers into it. They're so pretty, and their voice, they harmonize so well with one another, and they killed it.
We're seeing the birth of the next Beyonce with Chloe though. Like each
we are.
I'm like,
we are. I just see her like, and I'm like, she's still in. It's almost like watching Venus and Serena play tennis. You know, like you love them both, but you keep looking at Chloe like.
Because Halle just has like this simplistic grace about her, and Chloe's starting to get kind of that little little.
But she's
also
like Beyonce
older. And Solange. It's like Beyonce and Solange. Like if you think of like their creative arcs and where where Beyonce has gone to, and where Solange has gone to.
But it's bizarre that's the older one. Well, I guess Beyonce was the older one. That kind of
Beyonce was the older one. The older one.
I feel like Halle would be the more palpable one. And Chloe would kind of be like the Solange because she's like a little more just rough. I think Chloe's going to be the one that.
I think she's going to be more like,
I agree.
She dresses sexier. She has more of that energy, and you know, Halle is just more like refined and
demure and
First of all, let's keep in mind these young women are 22 and 19,
which is crazy.
And they look 12.
Okay.
Crazy. They look 12.
Okay. So you know, like they are still coming into who they want to be as women. So the evolution is just going to continue to be. It's just starting. It's just starting for them. So people better watch out.
What did we think about Ariana and Gaga's performance?
I thought it was okay.
I thought Ariana slayed Gaga on the vocals.
Oh, she sure did, bitch.
Yeah,
she sure
I'd agree with that.
Ariana said, "I'm gonna come." She said, "I'm gonna come out." Hold on. If you're on YouTube, she came out like, and said, she hit that high note. I was like, "Okay,
Ari, okay." She I ain't gonna lie, she did that.
She came out singing.
She did that.
I was not mad at Ari. Gaga was doing the most, which is Gaga. Which actually, we're back in Meet Dress Gaga land, so I'm happy about that. I'm happy about that.
Really didn't do anything for me at all.
I was okay with Gaga. I guess the favorite thing that I liked about Gaga is when she took her got her final award, and she was like, and I know I keep saying this, but wear a mask. It's the ultimate sign of respect for one another. And I was I'm okay. Thank you for saying that, because you gonna touch more white people than I can in one day. So you know what? Go for it. Let your people know.
Even though you would like to try though. Now,
you know, I mean, a couple, you know.
Reach out and touch
somebody's
ass.
I mean, I feel like I've reached my quota though. So you know, I thought, you know, I'm moving on.
Girl, after 22.
26.
Okay.
Okay. After 26, you know, there's probably about like 18 of them in that 20s. No, about 16 of them 26. You know, it's enough. That's more than half.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, but I agree. Like overall, the performances were okay. I liked The Weeknd. I liked Ari. I thought she slayed them vocals.
What did you think of the baby?
Chloe and Halle. I think he try to do too much in this performance, and so it kind of muted each portion of it. You know, like the BET Awards was just so powerful because George Floyd had just got killed and things like that, so that was just like so powerful. He stuck to the one song pretty much. This one, he had too many people. He had the Jabberwockies.
Look, that was the easiest paycheck for the Jabberwockies, because you know them dudes can dance.
That's all they did.
They gave us the same 8 count.
Knock on the door.
So I was like, I could do that 8 count thing.
Look, okay. Show the what?
So the baby was okay. I'm trying to think, who else was there?
And when I think about like who performed that was black. Right. I'm just like, there was just with the baby, that was just a missed opportunity. Really, like, and I get what he was trying to do.
Miley was actually decent. I liked the aesthetic and everything. I don't care for the song as much, but
she gave me Pat Benatar vibes.
She did give me,
and I was really thrown off by that mullet wig that she was wearing.
Looking like her damn daddy.
That's her real hair.
Well, it looks like a wig. It looks like a wig. A really bad wig. Because, like, girl, you saw my wig from last week's episode, honey. I only paid $35 for that mug. And that's her real hair?
I know. So Miley's was okay. Who else performed? So that shows you that it was kind of, but again, especially this year, it's just gonna be interesting.
Wait, hold on. Can we talk about the Black Eyed Peas and that damn light up crotch? What the fuck was that?
I was here for it.
Let me tell you.
I like that song, that boom, 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 boom.
And,
I mean, but that's because
can't touch this. It reminds me of MC Hammer. Rick James.
Yeah, it's the Rick James version and the MC Hammer.
It took me a long time to figure. I'm like, I know this song. Why do I know this song?
It was kind of a hot song. I was like, ooh.
And I was singing it, and I was like, I couldn't get it.
But the light up crotch. The light up crotch.
I was trying to see if anything was moving. I was like,
look. And then one of them went out. Man, you know.
That mean he probably got a lot in his pants. He was like, because they were doing that little crotch move. So that means that thing was knocking that light and short circuited that shit.
That stuff was hot.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I wasn't.
It makes me realize I miss Fergie in the Black Eyed Peas.
Yes, that part. Because I had to look up who is this new chick in the Black Eyed Peas, and I found out who she was, and I was like,
Is she in the Black Eyed Peas?
Yeah, she's like the new singer of the Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
Okay,
and even before Fergie got there, they always kind of changed in and out their female singer. But then once Fergie got there, they blew up, so they kind of kept her for a while.
Yeah,
right.
It just makes you feel like, I mean, when there's chemistry, and you see it. You know,
that would have been dope if Fergie would have came out and it would have been a surprise. and
Bitch.
you know, then it
Yeah.
it would have went from their stuff to like her stuff. That would have been kind of cute.
Yeah.
Like that would have been a moment.
Yeah, I miss Fergie with them, but
You know, I'm gonna give her this new girl shot. I haven't heard her in nothing though.
Well, I mean,
they had
with
another
them.
song out with her in it, and she sounds good. She sounds good, but
Does she?
I don't know if it's just because I just enjoyed Fergie in the Black Eyed Peas that I'm not giving her a fair chance.
I'm gonna hear this song then, because I heard that song.
Maybe I don't even really care about the Black Eyed Peas anymore.
See, that's the camp that I'm in. I don't really care about the Black Eyed Peas at this much. So it's like, okay, so first of all, the song is like, it's okay. It's cute, but it's not going to be a bop for me. If it was, and then she had some like really great like vocal moments in it, that would have been kind of dope. Like if the hook had something with her just soloing it out and like really using her vocals,
or even like they should have had her do the like the Rick James part of it. That would have been hot in the song.
But it's just again a missed opportunity in my view. Like
so it sounds like VMAs was just a missed opportunity overall.
Yeah,
that sounds like the hashtag for the night.
Yeah, missed opportunity. Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't think Lady Gaga gonna be sweeping the Grammys like this though. My prediction's going because the next big one is gonna be the Grammys, I believe, right?
I think the American Music Awards are before that one, or at least for music shows. Because Grammys are in like February, and usually American Music Awards are in November. But this year they moved it to like February to be closer to the Grammys again. Because for decades it was like 2 weeks apart. American Music Awards wanted to be their own kind of thing, so they moved it up to November. But then this past year, for some reason, they moved it closer again. So we'll see what they do. I don't know.
Have we heard anything about what they're going to do for the like the awards that have like all the awards that got canceled because of COVID this year? You know, like
the Emmys are next
February all the way through.
When are the Emmys?
Well, we got everything because we got the Oscars. We got the major ones. We got the Oscars, and we did get the Grammys. So we got those everything shut down
before COVID.
So I felt like the beat.
When is the AMAs? The American Music Awards?
Yeah, the AMAs are the American Music Awards.
Yeah, and that was January of this year. Because I remember,
January.
I forget why they
that
moved
was January.
When are the fucking Emmys? Like, because I saw a commercial with Jimmy Kimmel.
And then what about the
September 20th are the Emmy Awards, so that's
Emmys,
the next major one.
And what's the one where they all sit down at the regular tables? That's a lot more fun.
Golden Globes.
Golden Globes.
Yeah, that's like January.
Okay.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting what each award show does from here on out. Of
all right,
mixture of between, because at least the VMAs were kind of like a mixture of between live and pre-recorded. So we'll see who does the best.
And shout out to the Megan Thee Stallion to winning Best Hip Hop though, out of a category full of number men.
Yeah,
love to see my Black woman that got shot thriving. Boom.
Question.
Preach. Tell me
what
do
you guys think about this?
I bought my own diamonds and I bought my own rings. Only ring the selling when I'm feeling lonely. Sorry, you said that on purpose.
I love if he's get up and leave. Question. Dawon, that's all your fault. Sorry,
that was your fault.
That's okay.
Okay, what's your question, Boo?
I forgot. What was I gonna ask?
Hey, anytime we bring up Beyonce, it's a good thing.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think about? Because I mean, as we're having all these conversations culturally about gender and gender identity, on top of everything else that's going on. What are you guys' thoughts on like these awards categories that are very binary? You know, so top female this, top male this.
I guess I haven't really thought about it much. How do I feel?
I mean, I'm okay with it as long as they allow people who identify however they identify to be in the category that they identify as.
That part, I think
that's the only thing. Like, that's the only thing that matters to me. Like, if someone identifies as a male, then they should be nominated in Best Male Hip Hop or Best Male Pop Performance, whatever. Yeah.
But then what about folks who are non-binary?
Yeah. Do you create a third, or do you? That's a good question. Honestly, I don't know.
That's hard. I mean, because there's been other times where, like, weren't we just saying the Grammys that we felt like there should be other categories that should be still added because certain people don't fit certain modes.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this is kind of one of those situations too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like it gets harder.
Yeah. I don't know the right answer right now.
Like, what is the value? What is the value of saying, and like in music, right? What is the value of saying there is a top male rap artist, you know, versus a top female rap artist?
I don't know. I feel like certain people. I feel like certain people and genres get certain looks. Like in hip hop, you know, I feel like men get more looks in hip hop and rap than women. And if you're a woman, you have to have a certain look. You have to have a certain type of coin or whatever in order to get looks. Because there are plenty of women who are talented that can spit and lyrically rhyme out the fucking. I'll do some of these dudes, but they don't fit that mold that women need to in hip hop. So guess what? They get 0 looks. And that ain't cool because it should be about the talent, right?
Very, but
I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, especially as a result of watching like the VMAs and like been reading a lot of articles specifically about like, you know, the missed opportunities for exposure, you know, between the genders, and the fact that we have, you know, like these categories are, you know, are binary. It's like you either fit into this or you fit into this. And I get it from a genre standpoint, you know, like, oh, you know, is it, you know, can we have more diversity in like the style of, you know, overall rap music? So it's not just about like hip hop, but maybe you're adding like other categories so that it's more about the style of the music versus like who's singing it.
Like part of me feels,
I just feel it's very exclusive.
Maybe so. I
think it should be though, because everybody can't win.
And my thought is just like, do like hidden biases come in? So say you like merge the genders or merge whatever it all into like one massive category. I don't know who the voting bases are, honestly. So does that allow more male or gender biases to come in? Be like, I'm only gonna root for a dude because I only think they spit the hardest. You know, and then you kind of over the years lose out on the Nickies and the Cardis and the Megans. That's the only thing that I think in my head is just like, does it allow more folks to solely base because of their egotistical or masculinity or things, you know, or whatever it may be, kind of ways that maybe that's why initially a lot of categories, at least when it comes to gender, were placed as binary. Because it's just like, okay, at least we're taking out maybe some of that ego, a lot of times, of a man, you know? I don't know. It's a very good question.
I mean, the construct originated because of what you're talking about, Carell, which is biases against women. But now we have much more, we have a broader understanding of sex.
Right.
And I'm not saying that sex has to be the defining factor. Like, I totally agree. I think that, you know, women have been, you know, like overlooked for a lot of different things. But so have queer people. So have people who haven't been seen. So like, I guess what I'm wondering is, and we don't have to solve it here, it's just, I like the fact that we can have this kind of conversation. But, you know, I wonder, are we slicing and dicing things in the right way? And just because it's been done this way, should that be accepted?
Right. Yeah.
Because we exclude, if we take away the gender out of it, how else can we slice and dice, you know, these award categories so that we're providing, you know, recognition for people that really deserve it?
And that is,
and it should be based off of their talent.
Yeah. And that is equal opportunity across the board somehow.
And that's the key. That's the hard part. Yeah, because really, if you take out, if it becomes just overall pop, then it's like, man, like, even though now we are opening the door for other people, you know, who are non-binary, I feel like kind of what Carell said, they just come. It just opens that same door. So it's like, do you open that door for, you know, that, you know, allows something positive and something negative, or we keep it as is, but at the same time, we're growing, we're evolving, and social at the times, you know, like.
Because is it insulting to ask a non-binary person to force them into, you know, it might be a little to force them into, but like you gotta pick and choose. So yeah,
I guess that's where I'm challenging back on, is gender the right way to slice and dice it? Like, in my opinion, like, you know, I'll liken this to affirmative action, right? Affirmative action has really great benefit, you know, and when it was introduced and for a long time, for many years, had really great benefits of getting people into the door that could never, ever, ever, ever break through under any other circumstances. And, you know, as our community and our culture has evolved to some minute degree.
I was about to say.
It's
still not there.
People are able to create lives for themselves that 50 years ago, 70 years ago, just was not possible. Right. You know, so it begs the question, is gender the right way to do that, or is there another way? I don't know what that other way is.
I think it will still be, it'll just have to include other types of like non-genders as well. You know, like I think that it still it would have to still revolve around all different types of orientations when it comes to genders, you know, and like maybe just having different categories for like non-binaries or something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
community, if you know, let us know.
Yeah, because I agree, Dawon. I think it's a very valid and great question. I just don't know how to go about doing it.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing, you know, we're having a lot of social conversations right now about Black Lives Matter, right? But, you know, are we also having, you know, these same conversations about Black trans lives? Are we having the same conversations about Black non-binary lives? You know, and I just, the more and more that I think about like the conversations that we're having, you know, it's making me question a lot of the things that I've kind of, I don't want to say taken for granted, but it's always been that way. Right. Status quo.
Yeah. And that goes for like all POC groups. A lot of times when we say Black, it's just because we're Black, but we mean
that's our lens.
POC groups and minority groups.
Yeah.
But let's get to Ask Your Aunties. We didn't do it last week.
Yeah,
so we're bringing it back. We just needed a 1 week reprieve there.
And last week was a necessary break.
Was so necessary.
It really was.
There was a whole lot going on.
Absolutely was necessary. So, all right, what time is it?
Ask your auntie.
You have it, Dawon?
I was just pulling her.
I have it up.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
And we said number 91.
Number 91.
All right. So this one is from Anonymous, and it says, "I'm stuck in a conundrum. I've been living with my dad and stepmom since the pandemic, and got what you would call a dead-end job. I want to move out, but financially can't. I just can't live under the same roof with family that criticize my every move. Should I sit down and negotiate a deal for them to help me pay for an apartment and expenses for 1 year while I get a better job and money and get myself together? Or should I just tough it out?"
Carl, can you just say what you said to me before the podcast started?
So, like, when we picked this one out, and that was my first time reading it before I hopped on, I was like, oh, God. See, people going to take this so wrong on the podcast, though. When did us three, we can say some shit. I said, this must have came from a white person because
that part.
This ain't a Black household. You ain't about to demand shit from your parents when you living in
the assumption from my experience.
Should I
negotiate for them to pay me?
Right, negotiate my parents to give me money to go live somewhere else. Housewife, where?
What in the white privilege?
So that's what it felt like in my soul when I first read it before we hopped on.
But it could be a Carlton. It could be a Carlton. You never
even
know.
Even then, the DNA somehow comes up within a Black person's parent or POC parent. But okay, couple things. They must love you a little bit to let your ass move back in during the pandemic. Because like if you were out, because it sounds like this person had to move back in, and now you're in a dead end job. So clearly they were nice enough to let you be like, okay, we see that you're on hard times, to let you back into my crib. My name is on the mortgage. Yes, it sucks. Sometimes like you might not get along with your parents or family members and things like that. That is definitely tough, especially if like they don't agree with you being gay, queer, whatever it may be. Definitely tough. We've all been there. Completely get it. However, that means you need to pull yourself up, find a non-dead ass job so your ass can move the F out and not have to deal with it. Like, so that's the part, and I get it during these times. It's harder to find jobs. Like the unemployment rate is the highest it's been in forever. Get it. But it sounds very privileged of you to say, let me read it. It says, should I sit down on their couch, mind you, to negotiate a deal for them to help me pay for an apartment and expenses
for
a year.
Wait a minute, to help who?
That's the part.
To help me.
Me.
Look, for
Not
a
them,
year.
For them to help
a
me.
year.
Bitch.
Or I get a better job and money and get myself together. Or should I tough it out?
Dying.
This is too much for me.
What in the millennial white privilege is this bullshit?
So whoever said this, and I'm sorry right now if you're listening and we making fun of the situation a little bit, but you're privileged.
You are in a conundrum.
I bet you they got a separate bunch expense as to, like they probably still. I can't even with this. This whole
I think you can sit down
auntie.
and negotiate how you want to be treated, and like I think maybe in this, even then in the Black household, you in my house at the end of the day. Like, so go somewhere else. But I think there might be a way for you to potentially at least express what it is that's rubbing you the wrong way, that's maybe creating some kind of tension. But the way this is worded, you might be the denominator that's causing some of these issues.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at.
Girl, it's above me now. It's above me now. Like, what in the millennial white privilege hellosity is going on in this person's mind? Like, first of all, as you can hear from our laughter, this is absurd. There is significantly a lack of immaturity on your part, that you would assume that it is someone else's responsibility to get you out of a situation where you feel uncomfortable. I'm just going to say it. So
that part, you nailed that.
You need some growing up to do. And if that means, and if you're in a dead end job, whose responsibility is it? It's your responsibility. You got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And for somebody who doesn't,
at least you know it's a dead end job. Maybe at least you're acknowledging that the situation ain't ideal for yourself. Right.
But at the end, yes, and at the end of the day, you are living off of somebody else. So whatever the circumstances was or were that required you to move from wherever you were to back to your parents. And it could just be that you were in college and you were away from school and then they forced you to come home like a lot of college students. So that I get. Yep. But at a certain point, mainly when you become 18 years old, you no longer become the financial responsibility of your parents. So they are actually doing you a favor by allowing you to live in the house during this pandemic.
And put more strain on their resources during the same time period.
You an adult. So at the end of the day, you are living under their roof, under their rules. And if you can't abide by that because of whatever it is that you're doing that they don't agree with, you have to figure a way to get yourself out of that situation.
Can
or
you
just
get a roommate?
Suck it
Like,
up.
why you gotta be on your own then if you're in a dead ass job and you need to negotiate a whole year's salary payment kind of situation? Get a roommate, a couple roommates, 3, 4, 5
Go on
roommates.
Craigslist. They always looking.
That part.
Like, I don't know. Look, I just feel like there's a lot of entitlement in this Ask Your Auntie that just rubs me the wrong way, and the person sounds really ungrateful. And a bunch of different angles. And I agree with everything y'all said. Like, the truth is, person who ever sent this question is, you have more control over your life than you think. And it's important that you remember that if you put yourself in a situation, you can get yourself out of a situation. Just like you got yourself in a dead-end job, you can get yourself out of that dead-end job.
It's all about being, so you're not spending time at home. How about that?
It's all about being proactive. And that's a good point too, Dawon. You know, like, you just might have to hustle twice as hard before you get on your feet where you don't have to hustle twice as hard. I mean, I worked 3 jobs all the way until I was 27 years old, like, just to make ends meet. 3 part-time jobs just to be able to pay my rent. And I was working probably 60 hours, 80 hours a week. But guess what? It's what I had to do. Now I have 1 job that pays all my bills. I paid my dues. At some point, part of growing up is you got to bide your time, pay your dues until you can get the benefits out of it. It's kind of like planting. You plant the seed, you ain't just the harvest don't come overnight. You have to wait. You got to be patient, and you will reap the benefits of it.
You got to till the soil.
Come on, Monica.
It is one of them things.
Because Monica was preaching too.
Look, you know, so I mean, like Carell was saying too, like, there's a lot of, and like, you're privileged if you think for a second that your parents can provide you with living expenses for a fucking year and still pay their bills. Like, I feel like,
in my mind ever.
To me, I feel like your lifestyle that you live ain't even close to the average person that actually struggles in here. Like, I feel like you may have like this Lexus that you have a car note for that your parents been paying for, and 8 months ago, pre-COVID, they told you no, you gonna start having to pay for it, and now you're struggling to deal with it. Like, I bet you have like all this name brand stuff, and you shop at Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. Like, you don't know what all these is.
He said,
you don't know about
this
like
person said. No, wait. This person says, I just can't live under the same roof with a family that criticizes my every move.
I guess
what's your move?
Isn't that what a family is?
But you living with them. It's not like they're living with you and you're like, how do I get these out my house? You living with them. You are freeloading off of them.
Here's the thing, like, that shows me you actually have the ability to do better. Because you actually thought it through to say, I'm going to negotiate.
Yeah.
As if that was an option.
Right. Like, negotiating skills are key in corporate America, any job. So clearly you know what you're doing. That you said, oh, you know what? I'm going to negotiate. And sounds like you knew you was going to be able to negotiate a whole year. Then why are you in a dead-ass job? No, you're just not applying yourself enough, and it could be your family that enabled it. But guess what? It's time to stop that, cut that right now, because you're a grown person. You're a grown human being.
And you ask your aunties, and your auntie's gonna tell you
that part. So sorry. So this might be the last episode you hear of our podcast.
My advice to you.
But
you got one dead end job. If you add another dead end job, you'll have 2 jobs that'll get you somewhere.
Ooh,
right.
Do that. Do that.
Come on, Brandy, Angelou.
And you'll have the added benefit of not being around those people that quote unquote criticize you so much.
That part.
And listen, if you're living in an area where there's not a lot of quote unquote corporate jobs out there, guess what? There's a lot of people that will hire you to clean their house, to wash their car, to mow their lawns, to remove the snow out of their driveway. You can do all this stuff without having to have a resume. You just gotta have hustle. And apparently, you might not have hustle.
Look, at the end of the day, the honesty from this Ask Your Aunties is nothing but love, and it's just hard ass facts. You know,
Got
like
nothing but love for you.
I hope you still continue to listen. However, you need to get your shit together.
Get it together. Get your shit together. You breaking the fool of yourself.
Hey.
Come on. That's how. Use a hoe. Use a hoe. Brandy said, Sarai's watching. Monica didn't care. She said, I'm gonna hit all these hoes. She said the city girls want to hear this. Anyway, community, continue to send your Ask Your Aunties questions. We enjoy it. This one was a little different, so we thoroughly enjoyed this because we've been talking a lot of relationship and sex and all this stuff. So even though we do enjoy that as well, I mean, who are we fooling? But please continue to send an aya@minoriteareport.com. or DM us, call us, text us, all that good stuff. You know how to find us.
We won't read you the filth unless you deserve it.
That part. Look.
That was a little ridiculous.
Okay, but you know who needs it?
Ooh.
Adele.
I'm so torn on this one. Go, you guys go first, and I'm torn. I'm torn.
Look,
there's a thin line between appropriation and appreciation. Like there just is. And
keep it in the bedroom. Keep it in the bedroom. That's what she should have done.
Her and her Bantu knots.
But here's the thing, like I guarantee you it was her homegirl that did it. Like a black homegirl that said, no, this cute. Like we going to this festival. Like my part is just like she wasn't going to this festival to sell like a new album. That wasn't like her new album cover. Like she wasn't selling like this is a new hairstyle. Y'all ain't seen this before kind of thing. It was an appropriate hairstyle for the festival she went to that in an area that she grew up in too, So it's just like, honestly, a lot of people that I feel like are up in arms about it probably don't even know the history of damn Bantu knots. So it's just like, that's sometimes where I'm just like, I get there's a very thin line between appropriation and appreciation. But I feel like in this one, she probably had been going to that same festival with the same homegirls since she was a kid. And like
she didn't lost a gang of weight, so she was ready to show the tatas.
And she probably done that same hair.
She got gassed up by all her girlfriends.
Right. And Monica did her hairstyle all these years, so she's like, "Hey, Adele, you in town? I'm gonna do your hair again, guys." That was my best British accent. It was horrible, but and so that's the part where I'm like, "Oh God!" And she probably was like proud of that moment, and her friends were probably proud of that moment. And I don't know. I don't know. But then I get the other side of it that like we've seen so long that we can't keep anything culturally ours without everyone else taking it and appropriating it and trying to monetize from it. And so like I feel sometimes that might be the line for me is like if that was Adele's new album cover or that was like her new tour t-shirts, nope, not having it because now you're appropriating and monetizing from something that you probably don't fully care about. You just know you're just gonna get some coin from it.
It's a gimmick,
right? But that one, she was like, you know what? I go to this. Like at least from the sounds of it, like it was a festival that she cherishes and been to, and even the Jamaicans were like, "Hey, girl, you look good," kind of thing. Like, so I don't know. I get both sides of it.
This to me is just one of those. It's one of those weird. A picture is worth 1,000 words moments. Because I don't think that anybody, let me take one step back. A lot of people are getting up in arms over this picture, but I don't think anyone really thinks that Adele was doing anything to be disrespectful or not appreciative and all of that kind of stuff. But I just think it's just one of those things where you see a picture and your gut reaction is to like,
bitch, what you doing?
Cringe up.
It was just so close. It was close to a Taylor Swift moment, like we've seen plenty of times. Yeah. No, I agree. I think I drew the line at the knots. Like the outfit, I didn't have an issue with, it's when she went with the Bantu knots. Then I was like, no, girl.
They just look too good to know that it was, it wasn't a white girl that did it.
Did you see the meme? Did you see the meme?
Right, there were no flyaways, none of those little like straight.
None.
Because straight, white hair is like it's a different. Our hair will curl around it. You know what I mean?
No flyaway.
No. Did you see the meme? And it was like, it was of Mara Simpson with holes in her hair afterwards. And it was like Adele taking out those Bantu braids. Bitch, I was like, I'm dead. I mean, look, I at first real talk, I thought it was Katy Perry. Okay.
I did
real
too.
Talk, I thought
I showed Adam.
Perry.
I was like, who do you think this is?
And then when I heard it was Adele, I said, pause. I had to look.
Yeah.
One, Adele, stay away from Katy Perry's management team because you'll be canceled. Two, I think she touched the line. She didn't cross the line. She touched the line. But it was enough to be like, no, Adele.
Do this again and see what happens.
Okay? Like, you will get
If we see a picture of her next week with some watermelon in her mouth, that's going to be a problem.
Not even like some box braids or
Adele,
something.
you can get canceled. You can get canceled. Yeah. Okay? So I think it was a reminder. And then 3, I think it was also a reminder for her, but like, just because you listen to Beyonce don't mean we all stand for you. So like,
Beyonce can't save everybody.
Look, I don't care how many times you stand up for Beyonce at the Grammys or any awards show, your ass can still get canceled. Just like Kanye did, because he pulled the same scent before. Look, unless you Beyonce, everybody else is up for grabs.
Look. Yeah, it was. Yeah. that it was tough because I felt every range of emotion of it, but it came down to how good those knots were.
They were pretty. Because
I was like, damn, she got a home girl. Because it wasn't half-assed. And I was like, damn, where can I get the number at? But yeah, I agree. Like it's if it's a habitual thing, if we see her with some box braids and all this stuff next, it's a habitual thing that
earrings.
That she's right, that she's
Timberlands,
right, bamboo earrings, at least 2 pair,
and some FUBU. And she's trying to bring FUBU back.
Right,
like, y'all know nothing about this FUBU.
Let me tell you though, but we all know the right pipe will make you do some shit. Okay, so.
Hey, she got some new pipe.
She got a bruv.
Okay.
She got a bruv.
She got a Jamaican.
They got a bruv.
Yeah, she got a bruv.
Jamaican.
No, I'm saying that's how they say it in England. Bruv.
A bruv.
Brava.
A bruv.
Brava.
Yeah, a brava.
With a V. A
brava.
Oh man, and shout out to Niecy Nash too, by the way.
Yes. Congratulations, girl. On two things, right?
She
came out. She came out and
got married. Okay, yeah.
2 things. Yeah, double congratulations.
2 teams. Yeah, that was awesome. That's a way to come out. Shit.
I love it.
Just post that picture. And she looked great. I mean, she just looks, her body is like insanity. So she looked great in that wedding.
I've always been such a big fan of her. And it's funny because I forget, there was a season in Reno 911 where I thought I was like, is she a lesbian? And I was like, no, because then she started getting into a lot of like the Black films where, they weren't hitting the theaters, but they were straight to DVD. And, she was playing the ghetto person. And
she was married forever to a man.
She just got divorced a year ago.
A year
ago.
Yeah.
So, it's just, I'm just happy for her that she feels comfortable to live her truth.
That goes back to that question a couple weeks ago. How old is too old to come out?
Damn, that was last week. Damn,
or 2 weeks ago with Gay.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, we were just talking about that. Never too old. Never too much. Never too much.
Girl, get out my head. Come on, Luther. That was big Luther. Oh man, and sad news with Chadwick too, man. Like we can't catch a break this year. Like that one, like I was already in that mood Saturday and Sunday this weekend.
Friday, yeah.
And saw that, and I was like, "Come on!" But it makes sense because everyone was just like wondering like, because he had started to lose all that weight, and people were like, "What's going on?" kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And to think
And I
that
felt
he did
bad.
all those movies.
Yeah,
Battling
battling
cancer.
it. And I saw this movie 21 Bridges that came out in January. And like Fizz and I were at the movie theaters, and I remember seeing the trailer for it like last November, and I was like, bruh, you looking kind of on the thin side. I was like, what's going on? I was like, he must be, and I literally thought, I was like, he must be doing a role. He must be doing a role. Right. I was like, that's the only way it makes sense. But I was like, at the same time, I was like, it must be a really good role because they let him still do this movie looking so, you know, on the skinnier side. And I just felt so bad because in the moment, you know, I did judge someone going through a battle that no one knew but the people closest to him and himself, you know? And it was just a reminder of just like, and I think, Dawon, you posted this about like, you know, you never know who's going through a battle, you know, like there are a lot of fought battles unheard or something like that, or not spoken, something along those lines. But
I just thought that it was amazing that he had been going through and been battling cancer, colon cancer. And just as a PSA, guys, if you have never been checked, it's never too early. Don't wait to those milestones to, you know, like until you turn 45.
They say 30. They say now it's 30 when you turn 30.
You know, take your health into serious consideration. There's a lot more than the pandemic that's going on, especially that's hitting our community and especially hitting us men. There's a telltale, but the point that I was making was, you know, this guy has a loyal team around him because he had been battling this for 4 years and no one knew. No one knew. He had been going out like to, you know, he's been giving millions to cancer research and to support other people battling cancer while he was going through his own private, you know, struggle. And, you know, no one knew. So you just, you know, that's the kind of stuff that's the kind of people, the kind of loyalty that people need to have around them so that you can go through something personally and have your confidants keep your confidence.
That part. So his family thinking of you, extended family, friends. That's a lot. That's a lot,
you know, and I cried doing that, and I cried again on Sunday because there was a post circling around of like a lot of like young kids, you know, with their action figures, you know, crying and sitting down, doing the Black Panthers, you know, salute sign and stuff like that, and just seeing just how like, you know, just like this man had given so much hope to not just grown ass men such as myself, but little boys who look like me, you know, who still have their whole lives to live, you know, and it was a game changer, you know. He who, not just his character, but him as a person was a game changer to our community, to our people, and I just feel so sad for those, you know, those young boys and girls who they don't get to see their idol like we've gotten to see our idols, you know, like
Wakanda forever.
Yeah, you know,
43 years old. I mean, you're just getting into that good living, you know.
I would say Jack, but
but talk about somebody who made every moment in his life count and took advantage of every opportunity, because tomorrow's not promised, and we hear that all the time, and we continuously are reminded about, you know, that when we have somebody that's, you know, close to us, or somebody that's in the public eye that loses, you know, a battle with something, you know. So if ever this says anything to people out there, and including ourselves, is that we have to bet on ourselves, and we have to live the lives for the fullest. Live your truth, baby. Live your truth.
I agree. Yeah, I don't even know how to make a turn from that.
Question, hard left. Hard left. Is anybody watching Lovecraft Country?
Yes, I am.
You ever heard of it?
Okay, you need to watch that. You need to watch it tonight. Corral.
What is
that
sounds like some like country living magazine shit.
No. It's like something you like Watchmen. If you like Watchmen, you're gonna love this.
You would love this.
You got black people in it.
Yes. It's by Jordan Peele.
Yes.
It's Jordan Peele.
Oh,
it's J.J. Abrams. It's on HBO.
Is it old boy's sister in it? Smollett?
Smollett's sister
Yes,
is in it.
yes.
Yeah, okay, I've seen the
Yes.
commercials for it. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Okay.
It's amazing.
It's trippy as fuck too. I'm
Is
here
it
for it.
where does it come on?
It comes on the HBO.
HBO
Mhm.
Max.
So every
or
weekly,
HBO
or is
Max.
it binge,
It's every Sunday.
It's every
Sunday.
And only three episodes have dropped.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
At the end of the episode, I was like, I had to go on Google and search. I was like, wait, are there more episodes? Because I thought it had ended. There's so much happening. It's good. It is really good. Community.
It definitely has Jordan Peele's stamp on it. There is like sci-fi, there's magic, there's Black lives. This is placed in like
racism.
This is placed in like the late
so every day.
60s, early 70s, right? Late 60s, early 70s,
around
late
that
60s.
time.
You know, and it's really interesting. That's all that I'll say. It's really, really interesting. It's
not like anything on TV. It's not like anything on TV right now, and it's going to be a really good breath of fresh air as far as like you won't be able to predict what's happening. One, it's just not possible. You just will not be able to predict what's happening unless you read the book. Then you might be able to predict some of the things. But it still has that Jordan Peele spin on it, where it's not to the T like the book.
This is
one of those. This is one of those. It's Labor Day, and I ain't got shit to do. I ain't going nowhere. Happy Labor Day, by the way.
Oh yeah, happy Labor Day, community. This is out on Labor Day. Hope y'all enjoying y'all day off if you got one.
Yes.
Right. I mean, we're all working from home, so most of us. But you know what I would say is this is one of the, I watch a lot of TV. That's the one thing I do is watch TV, so I know what's going on. But I think what I appreciate the most about this is you don't have to know where it's going to enjoy it. This is one of those ones. It's about escapism. There's messages in there. And for people that like to rewatch and analyze and look for Easter eggs or hidden, messages and things like that, there's a lot of that stuff going on in here. So this is one of those series where you could literally watch each episode like 3 or 4 times and see something new.
It's an hour.
I actually had to go
an episode. Is that what it is?
About an hour.
Yeah, it's about an hour.
About an hour. Adam and I watched the first 2 episodes together, and then we went onto YouTube, and then we watched the explainer videos because we didn't know anything about the storyline altogether. We didn't want to know what was going to happen. We just wanted to know, well, what is the context with which this is based off of? Because it's based off a couple of things, but they weave in a bunch of other stories and a bunch of other folklore into this whole storyline, and you just have no idea where they're going. So that's kind of the fun of it, is like you get to discover it as it's going along, and then you can have a dialogue with your friends or your partner or your whomever, or us, have a conversation with us. Let us know what you think about what you saw, how you felt about it. What triggered you. There's a lot of stuff in it.
Right. There's a lot.
Okay. I'll put that on the list. I'll see if Corey, because there isn't anything we're watching right now, really.
And that's the other thing. There's not a lot of like stuff that's going on that's really, really like popping.
I feel like we're gonna hit like a moment where literally it's gonna be like 6-8 months where it's gonna be like reruns.
It's gonna be a minute.
Yes.
Like because I ain't
There's
really
another
filming
show
too much right now.
There's another show that airs this week. I think it's also on HBO. Actually, I think it airs this week. By the time this episode airs, it will have aired. It's called, I think, Raised by Wolves. Raised by Wolves?
Ralph the
I think
Wolf
that's
Man.
what it's called. It's on it's also on HBO Max, and it's more in like the sci-fi like realm. So it's not as much like Black Lives Matter, so you don't have that. But it's a whole other kind of like sci-fi, alien, AI kind of thing. So
yeah, the only thing I'm watching right now is the NBA playoffs and the US Open.
I was going to ask you, are you watching the US Open?
For sure. Serena won today.
Venus is playing right now. Oh, she did. Damn it. Well, I guess I could delete that recording.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I do that to you often. I'm sorry, boo. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it just popped up on my thing, and I was like, damn.
Well, she was not doing well at all.
She's just
when we started recording, right before we started recording, she just started playing. It was the very first set. And the very first match of the first set, like the first 2 matches of the first set, she lost. Her serve was broken in the first game.
Yeah.
And then the her opponent, I forget what her name is.
Muchova.
Yeah. And then she just like annihilated. So it was just like I knew where it was going, but
and Carolina Muchova is a good player. Like,
yeah,
so
she is.
Hard first round matchup.
Yeah.
It's the first time Venus lost in the first round at the U.S. Open in 22 years. This was her 22nd year at the U.S. Open, and the first time she's lost in the first round.
Wow.
I will say that she is, even though she lost the first round physically, she looks really good. Physically, like like she's getting there in age, especially for tennis. But she does not look like she is slowing down at all. Now, I will say this though. Serena does though. Serena, she looks like she's slowing down.
And I think it's her confidence for some reason isn't there, which slows her down. Every time she loses confidence, she's like two like not even like a step slow, like 2-3 feet steps slow. And you're like, Serena.
I think she needs to take a page from Venus's book, because Venus has actually started changing some of her strokes too, like her fundamental of how she's been playing. Venus has been working on changing it, but that's because the game of tennis has changed too. Serena's so used to powering through players that now that defensive style of playing has become such a major part of tennis. I remember like Carolina Wozniacki and like Simona Halep were really the only 2 players that were really defensive. Now Kerber. And now you have so many more players being more defensive than they are power, and they're biding their time. They're just that power. Yeah, exactly. So she has to get back to that defensive side that she used to have pre-baby, which it was there. We saw because she was slide into some splits in a heartbeat. Like Serena was moving defensively. She would do it. She's not doing that anymore, and I
feel
think
like
it's
she might
getting
need
her
to
a little
drop
bit.
a few pounds. Like I feel like the older you get as an athlete, the more pounds you need to actually drop a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's just harder for your body.
Yeah,
honestly. Like
100%.
Carmelo Anthony right now dropped a bunch of weight before the playoffs just now, and has like revitalized his career in basketball. I get tennis and basketball are a little different, but it's a lot of cardio in both of them.
That part is the cardio. I think that's what Serena needs too.
The weight. I mean, she's not.
She's always been thick. She's always been thick.
Right. But I think she could still be a little more mindful of her weight the older she gets.
She's not in the fittest shape that she could be for her age. Like she's not in the fittest for her age. Like for her age
and for what she's been, honestly.
Right. Like I feel like there's I think there's some truth to what you're saying there, Carell, in terms of, it's not, listen, no one's saying that she's just like, like
she's
a horrible
not
big
like
fat
sloppy
monster.
at all.
Right. Ain't nobody saying that. She's still fine. She's still fine.
100%.
Still can get it.
Curvy in all the right places and all that stuff. But there is an element, there is an athleticism that comes with shedding some of that weight that makes you much more limber, much more responsive, much more agile,
especially when you get older.
Exactly.
Because I think when she was younger, whenever she was a little out of shape, she was younger, and so she could kind of play through it. The older you get, you just wake up some days, you're just like, you know what?
And now I wonder if
my body's not feeling it today.
I wonder if that's where she's at, like right with her career and everything. She has her baby. She has she's achieved almost everything that she's wanted in her tennis career and in her personal life. I just wonder if she's kind of like Martina Navratilova, she's going to continue to be out there, but she's like,
you're just not going to have great days every time.
Yeah.
No, I think honestly, I think Serena's playing to get to the most Grand Slams, and I think she's like, that's the finish line. I think it's that I think because that's her finish line, she is not so much pressure. Yeah. Like I think if she's like, hey, I'm going to play until I can't play no more, I think you would see a different side of her.
And she has how many? She has 23, and she needs 20
And we need her to
She
get
needs 20. She needs 25. She needs 25 to be number one. She needs 24 to be tied.
She has the most of the modern era. Margaret Court played in she played in before what they call the modern era as well. And that's her total. And plus Margaret Court is homophobic, so a lot of people are like, "Come on, Serena,
get her out of
this record," because a lot of the tennis world they don't care for Margaret Court that much.
Yeah,
because
that's why they don't hear that name that often.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's got a court in Australian Open, Margaret Court Arena.
Yeah.
But even like Chrissy Everett and like big time people, Martina Navratilova, don't care for her. They do not care for Margaret Court. So a lot of them are rooting for Serena to break it. And the same thing happened when Serena had 17. She was stuck on 17 for so long to get to 18 to be with like Chrissy and Martina. And then once she finally got 18, she won like...
It was like 19, 20, she won like 3. Yeah, like 3 or 4. Yeah.
And so I feel like that's what's happening now. It's like she broke Steffi.
Right.
And then now she knows Margaret's right there.
Was that Australian Open?
That was Australian Open.
Australian Open, yep.
Yeah. So she broke Steffi.
And let's keep it 100. Like in the last 2 years, she's been to 4 Grand Slam finals.
Right.
But she hasn't won a single set. Isn't that crazy?
Girl.
Like I heard that tonight. I was like, wow, in those 4 she did not win. Which
shows
you the pressure is so on her. Like she can bust ass through the tournament and get to that final and be like, oh shit. Even I get nerves.
And how many of those girls who have beat her in the final has won another one since then? Only Halep. Halep is the only one that's won another Grand Slam since then. Other than that,
I like Halep.
And Naomi Osaka. Naomi Osaka
won 2 in a row.
Yeah. But other than that, ain't nobody been back there. You know, ain't nobody getting close.
I'm just so glad that we have like the Cocos and the Naomis now, because like once the Williams sisters do retire, I was like, God, am I gonna watch tennis as often? And now I have new people that I can root once they retire, because if they play the Williams sisters, I'm still like, still salty if they beat them.
Yeah. Look here, little girl. Look here, little girl.
Naomi, sit your little ass down.
You better sit down somewhere.
Coco, sit your little ass down.
I just love the fact that, like, you know, their father didn't even play tennis.
The world's best tennis coach.
And it's been the best tennis coach, you know, of this whole game.
And
like,
he didn't even both of them.
Right,
both
it's
of her parents,
crazy.
Of their parents. I love it. And the date for years we're calling them crazy and all this stuff. And then because he believed in their daughters, his daughters. They both of them believed in their daughters and said they're going to be the greatest. And here's the thing: if Serena wasn't there, Venus would be ranked amongst the greatest. I mean, she's still one of the greats, but like her sister beat her in like 9 finals.
Yeah,
right.
Like that's some fucked up shit. So it's just like literally raised 2 of the greatest, and then they won so many doubles, and Venus is what got them equal pay for the women and everything. So their legacy is set. But the pressure's getting to Serena.
Well, keep an eye on tennis though, because there's some shit happening. Because like Novak Djokovic and a couple others have now started this professional tennis player association.
Yeah, like almost like
and it's like a union, but it's
not
only for men. It's only for men.
Oh,
only men
can
be in this. Yeah, they just at the end of the WNS championship last week. Yeah, they just had their first like little board meeting and stuff like that.
But Nadal isn't on board.
Nadal, Roger, yeah.
Andy Murray's not on board.
Well, I mean, if it's only for men, then you're gonna get a lot of resistance.
Yeah, I'm glad the men are speaking up though, like big time player men. But Novak always has. I can't deny his talent at all. But his whole career, this has been a privileged thing that always seems to kind of peek through that rubs me the wrong way his entire career. Like,
I never really noticed much of it. I never really noticed much of it until now. I was probably caught up in his, his little cute little body back there, and that little speed.
I have seen the dick pic out there, so
seen it too. But like now I'm aware, and also just because Bay is from Kosovo and he's Albanian, and during the war, Serbians did not like my man's people. So now I'm like even more like fuck you, like. So
like I can't deny his talent. Like incredible. But throughout his career, there's just been moments every time that I'm start to get on board, he says something or does something. I'm like, okay, you kind of an asshole.
You know that man has the longest match winning streak.
Novak does?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep, 43 matches.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Yep, 43 matches in a row.
We would have seen 3 of the best
More than
players
Federer.
ever in the same generation.
Right.
Like you have Roger at 20, Nadal at 19, and Novak at 17. And Nadal and Federer aren't at the US Open, so he can cut into that even more. In the same generation of players. They literally have, what's 20 plus 9, 39 plus 17 is what?
That's
56?
56.
56 grand. So that's over 11 years. 12, oh, wait, hold on. 14 times 4 is what? 50, 14, yeah. 14 years of Grand Slams that nobody else has won but them 3.
Yeah, but them 3.
Yeah.
That's
but
insane.
them 3.
That's insane. So anyway, I'm sure the community is like, okay, we don't care about
Andy Murray won 1 in there though, didn't he?
Andy Murray won 3.
Yeah, he's won a couple in there too.
And Stan Wawrinka has gotten 3 in there.
Yeah.
Cilic got 1. That's literally it for over almost like 16, 17 years.
Yes, crazy.
Careers have been destroyed because
they
have a lock on it. So it's going to be interesting this U.S. Open, especially if Novak loses, who steps up to finally get that Grand Slam. So I'm excited for this U.S. Open. Anyway, that's sports. I'm sure everyone's like, okay, enough of that bullshit.
Sports ball.
Yeah,
We're
bro.
Butch.
Yeah, bro. Butch Queens.
No loop.
But yeah, I mean, community, just a reminder, register to vote. The census is also up at the end of the month. So if you haven't filled that out, only 64% of households have filled that out. We need to get that number up.
That's hella low, y'all. That's hella low.
And I'm sure that's like, I don't want to even know what the Black and brown communities look like, what that number really is. So if we want representation for the next decade of our lives, fill it out. It takes not even 5 minutes. You go online and fill that shit out. Like, it's so quick and easy to do.
You know what? I had last weekend, I had somebody ring our doorbell, and like we have packages delivered all the time, so the doorbell's ringing like literally until 8, 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, who the hell is ringing the doorbell? And it's like fucking FedEx at 9 o'clock at night. And we live in Harlem, so it's like at 9 o'clock at night you ring the doorbell. Pull up. But I went down there, and it was the census taker. They're out beating the streets. And at first, because I had already did my census, I had already turned it in. But I was like, you know what? If this person is coming around, and I did feel a little invaded, because they do ask you, if you do have a census taker, they will ask you, like, what's your phone number? They will ask you, what is your, what year were you born in? And it feels very like, we're all protective of like that information. We're
almost
like,
scammy a little bit. Yeah.
Right. But at the end of the day, like, like I saw, like, first of all, it wasn't just some little Asian girl. She was like probably 19 or whatever. So like, this chick ain't trying to scam nobody. And there was that's like
how they get you, girl.
But there was 15 other people. Right. Don't look, she already got that.
She going to her bank statements right now, like,
Look, she already got that, like, she already got that credit card, so I'm good. She got that credit alert, alert. Got that. Because anything new. But no, like, the reason I share that is because I just want to give a personal testimony. Like, it does feel invasive when they're asking, like, who's in your household? Can I have your, what's your phone number? What year were you born? What's your full name? Can you spell it or whatever? But at the end of the day,
what's your sign? This
is the information that they need in order to allocate the fund. So like, if, I had a moment with myself to say, okay, do I want to be like, be rude and be like, oh, I don't want to give that information out and blah, 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 blah. Or do I just want to say, this is my civic duty. I'm doing my civic duty to help our communities. I'm doing that. And listen.
And go online if you feel uncomfortable. Be like, okay, it's like, thank you for knocking on my door. I'm going to check this out online. Is this the right address? Okay, cool. Let me do it there, because I don't feel comfortable providing that to you verbally here.
And they will give you the paper form. So if you ask and you don't want to like, give the information so that you can mail it in, they will give you the paper form right then and there. It's already postage prepaid. Just fill it out and put it in the mail. But
the
please
next decade of our lives, guys, like, come on. The next 10 years, like, literally, what were you doing in 2010?
Mm-hmm.
You're party rocking with the, LMFAO and Black Eyed Peas and shit. Like, that was a decade ago.
And
Lady Gaga was like just wearing the meat dress and shit. Like,
right.
Come on. Like, that's a decade ago. There's a lot that's changed. So you don't, like, I'm 36 now, 46. I want my representation for the next decade of my life.
Yeah. Well, and the thing to remember too is like, no matter the election outcome, the next 2 terms, like this is still gonna be what it is, So we want to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for success in the future by making sure that we do what we need to do now, so we're not scrambling later and having to do much more work later.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then obviously register to vote. We're preaching that as well.
I would say,
we see
and
day by day how
peoples.
crazy oh boy
check in on your peoples. Like,
that part too.
There are a lot of people that are out there that are, just like we talked with Chadwick, and it might not be as serious as, life-threatening cancer, but, there are people that are battling, emotional struggles, spiritual struggles, relationship struggles, education struggles, economic struggle. Like, there's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. And I think we talked about it last week, that even though somebody may have a smile on their face or post a memory about the last time that they were in Cancun, Mexico, don't always assume that people are living their life. Check in with your people. Just make sure that they're okay and let them know that you're thinking about them, because now's the time.
Absolutely. I think that's kind of it for this episode. Wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass. Mm-hmm. And if you could, say a prayer for my niece. I haven't said it on here, but I'll keep it at that. If you guys believe in God, whoever, please say a prayer for my family. Appreciate it. And that's it for me. So, yeah.
Prayers up.
All right. See you guys
Love
next
you guys.
week.
All right. Bye, community.
The Ask Your Aunties. Last year, I can't talk.
Ask your aunties.
Yes, that. she had Cavassier tonight, so.
Oh, come on, Buster.
Yeah.
Let's get out my head. Come on now. Brandy Angelou versus Goonica.
Even though I was ready, I wasn't ready. Okay. Oh, that never wiped my eyes. Sorry. I wasn't ready.
Brandy Angelou. Oh, Angelou.
I messed you guys up. I'm sorry. I messed the whole flow up.
We've been having some tough ones.
Okay.
These little tongue twisters.
Right?